cross-legged, or any comfortable position. If you want to elevate the hips sitting on a block, that's brilliant as well. We're going to start by self-massage, hands on the tops of the shoulders and fingers around the neck, and we'll draw the fingers forwards as we look up, and then press the fingers back as the chin comes down to the chest. Close your eyes if you wish. Let's have 2 more rounds here. Just feeling your way into the soft tissue around the neck, tops of the shoulders. And we'll support the head with circles so the head drops to the side, just giving a good rub to the side of the neck, chin to the chest, the back of the neck, wherever we're stretching the neck, just supporting with the hands and a little bit of massage there, head back, and getting your fingers right in there. If you're finished that first circle, take the head in the other direction. Lift the shoulders up to the ears. That can be a nice way to ease out some tension. And then we're going to place the hands on the knees for a seated cat-cow. So we're using the hands to draw the chest forward. Think an arch in the spine, chest forwards, and then pressing into the thighs, chin to chest, around the back. You know the sequence, so close the eyes, breathe in, and spine extension, shoulders back. You can wave the head side to side, and then using the hands on the quadriceps around the knees, pushing the thighs forwards to give you that leverage to release and flex down the spine. One more round. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Great. Let's take the arms overhead. A nice stretch into the fingertips. And we're going to take a side bend side to side. So hand to the floor, keeping the lower shoulder down and stretching up and over. Try and keep the other thigh soft. Breathing in, stretching, feeling that lift of the ribs out to the pelvis and to the other side. You can close your eyes so you're feeling occupying space. Breathing in tall, breathing out into the side bend, finding spaces along the side of the body. So each time the hand comes to the floor and we stretch overhead, we're maybe taking the stretch a little bit further, feeling a little bit more distance from the hip and side of the body to the middle finger of the upper hand. Let's have one more each side, and then we'll take it to a twist. And again, it will just be a gentle side to side twist, alternating the knee that we hold. You know, I had a run through just before I came into this. Just by doing a gentle twist, my spine kind of clicked out and I thought, oh, I've got that full mobility back in the spine. We don't always have to force and go right to the end range of our ability to get that release and maintain a nice healthy spine. We're going to start with the left hand to the right knee. Breathe in tall, breathe out and swivel. We're not straightening here. We're just breathing in, coming center and switching. The head is like we're looking out at the horizon. So a nice position for the neck, the chin staying parallel to the floor. Let's use the eyes and the muscles of the eyes. Look all the way around. Shoulders down, bringing out the waist. Last side, and we'll keep the right hand on the left knee here. The right arm, the left arm, is reaching up and over. We're taking a diagonal side bend. So we have this leverage, the hold on the knee. So we can lean up and over. You can let the head dangle and pause here. Just enjoying that stretch along the side of the hip and into the waist. Shoulders down, and we're pausing here. Now as you breathe in, you might feel a lift in the spine, and as you breathe out, rather than a collapse, just feeling a lengthening. Head soft, no tension in the neck. One more breath here, almost feel like you're turning the chest up to the ceiling. So it's a true side bend, no collapsing. Keep the arms in the same position, stack the elbows, left over right. Backs of the hands together, all the hands together. Now, we're lifting the elbows, maybe the head rests there, but with the movement we're going to flow into is a forward fold, and And then straightening up the spine and lifting the elbows high as they'll go. Maybe the hands go over your head. So we float down, rolling down through the spine, some spine mobilization and getting that separation of the shoulder blades. And by lifting and lowering the elbows, we're getting into those hard to reach spaces between the shoulder blades. 2 more. So each time we lift up, see if we can feel a little bit longer in the spine, those fingertips reaching to the ceiling and to the wall behind you. Any stress in the neck, just let the head rest on those upper arms. So the last time we'll lift, separate the arms, fingers behind you, roll the shoulders back and down and take that counter stretch, lovely chest opening, dropping the head back for a little semicircle release before we go to the other side. Let's see if I can get my rights and lefts the right way. So we're starting with the left hand on the right knee. We're taking that twist and then the back arm's reaching up and over into our diagonal side bend. So we're trying to keep the shoulders stacked, we're reaching overhead, we're breathing into these right lungs, the intercostals getting a stretch, hip grounding down, and giving ourselves that anchor, holding onto the knee, head wherever you feel like it, dangling. This isn't about creating stress in the neck, it's just finding length and release. You can even move the head, but keep breathing in space and length into the side of the body. Breathing deeply and trying to find that length in the spine all the time, finding spaces. To the top of the head, lengthening away, sit bones grounding down. We're coming into that stacked position for the arms. So the right arm stays on top, backs of the hands together, or the hands together, it really doesn't matter. It's this hook of the elbows. So we can round down and then lift up. Elbows pointing as high up, puffing out the chest, lengthen the spine. Breathing out, so no forcing here. We rarely get such deep work into the scapula, so we want to just find our way easily into it. As I said before, the simplest flow of stretching that can really do wonders for our mobility. One more time, and then we'll take that counter stretch, chest opener. So let's release the elbows, fingers behind, chest wide open, on the fingertips, rolling the shoulders back and puffing the chest out. Ease out the neck. We're coming into Janusirsasana, nose to knee or nose towards knees, we'll call it. So let's start with the right knee, foot into the groin, left leg extended, toes up to the ceiling. First check, are your hip flexors firing up? Can we just shake out the leg, find softening in the leg so we can fold without that awful feeling in of the hip flexors firing up. Just try to let the toes roll out. Pace the hands forward, bow the head, and with a gentle rock side to side, closing the eyes, breathing length into the back of the leg, and feeling softness in the spine, right up into the head. So you can see already there's no need to force this. Hamstrings are a little bit temperamental, you never want to overdo it anyway. The upper body weight alone will gradually guide you down. I like to cross my hands over the leg and folding over. It just gives me a secure point to hold on to. Not to force or deepen the stretch, it just feels more secure. So just finding wherever you want to hold. Again, any rocking side to side. Nice deep breath in and out of the nose. If you're used to practicing Ujjayi breath, it's a good time to employ that. Last breath here, and then we change the stretch. Head last to come up, pace the hands back. Roll the shoulders back and down. Twist the right hand, back of the hand on the outside of the length of knee. So twist, deep breath in, and we're reaching down towards the little toe, trying to turn our chest to the side wall. We can rest the head on the arm, and the other hand reaching behind you, or just fingers on the floor for stability. And then just finding a gentle breath in and out of the nose as we find that twist. So the back of the hand is pressing on the outside of the leg, wherever it falls, and we're opening across the chest. Once you've found your forward fold and gentle twist, we can add to it by holding the top shoulder and opening elbow, working its way towards the ceiling. Avoid tension in the neck. So think about the principles of forest yoga. That's just letting the head dangle. You can even think about it as being like a piece of ripe fruit ready to fall. So just let the head dangle, facing any direction that feels good, but feeling that openness across the chest. One more breath here, and then we're taking the nose to knee on the other side. Slowly pace the hands back and let's switch sides. So right leg or your other leg is on the same side. Forwards, check in with the hip flexors, soften them. Just maybe feel the difference between squeezing the glutes, firing up the hip flexors and folding, how much harder it is to relax into that forward fold. So nice shaking out of the thigh, softening, letting the toes roll out. So softening the hip flexors, and we're pacing the hands forwards. When you're ready, closing the eyes and just give into either gentle sway or focusing on the breath in and out of the nose. This is the second side. You know we're here for a couple of rounds of breath, few rounds of breath. So you have time to allow that heaviness, softness to settle into the body. Passive stretching, so safe and effective. So no forcing. Nice deep breath, ujjayi breath, ocean breath if you can, that constriction in the throat. And with many of these passive stretches, we can maybe think about backing off out of the stretch with the in-breath and not going deeper, but just finding a softness with the exhalation. On the next breath out, head last to come up, we're pacing the hands back, we're taking that twist. So your opposite hand on the outside of the outstretched leg, take a twist and then reach towards the toes. First of all, finding the twist in the spine. And then we can take hold of the top shoulder and maybe work it up to the ceiling to deepen the twist. But there's no need to. If this is enough, folding and twisting over the leg, using your back hand for stability, that's absolutely fine. Closing the eyes, go into the breath, into the body, and let's position the head wherever it feels supported and you're not overstraining. Have two more breaths in that twisted fold. Shoulders down. As you breathe in, almost feel like the air's filtering up the spine, giving you a little bit more space in between each vertebra. The out breath, feeling that softening. Head last to come up, we're pacing the hands back. Shake out both legs, we're coming onto all fours. We'll be taking the cat-cow, the opening, chest opening and thread through. Working the wrists, so we're not leaving anything out. When you're ready, onto all fours, we'll go straight into cat-cow. You know the drill of releasing the toes, breathing in, drawing into the fingertips, sticking the bottom out. Stretch from the pubic bone right up to the hairline. The breath out, chin to chest, press away from the floor through 10 fingers, the underside knuckles, the heels of the hands, knees, shins, tops of the feet. Now, two more rounds, you can take out the head from this and let the head dangle and focus on the ability of the spine. It can slightly change the emphasis of where you're working. Sometimes we're so focused on big movements in the head that we take more attention than we need to off the spine. So because my left arm's towards you, I'm going to start with that. Whichever arm makes sense. It's an exercise you're used to. So breathe in and open the chest, fingers to the ceiling. Reach as openly as you can. And then the hands threading through, reaching as far through. Hopefully the cheek might get to the floor. The breath in, returning to that chest opening. So right away you can think about possibly closing the eyes, going inside the body and reaching, occupying more space each time. We're going to go for 4 rounds, but don't worry if we're going at a different pace and you're at a different point. all that mindful movement and giving yourself, your body, time to explore what it's up for today. I'm going to make the next my last, and then we'll be switching sides. So because we're going at a pace and we're using a series of exercises that you're familiar with, let's try and go for a full breath with switching sides. So when you're ready, the other arm lifting up, chest opening, stretch, wide wingspan before threading through and reaching through to your fingers. Now, just getting that stretch around the shoulder blades here. No need to overdo it, just feeling lovely space and movement with the breath. So again, opting for 4 rounds approximately. Like a big yawn, stretching. We'll make the next our last. Lovely. Wrists, weight into the right hand. The left fingers, start with the fingertips, the top knuckles, mid knuckles, down to the knuckles and onto the front of the hand, the back of the hand, the front, and then peeling off. We can add in a little bit of movement into the hips, but the focus is mobilisation and stretching of the hand and fingers. So just feel all of the digits working into a flexion and extension without overloading on the wrists. Wherever you are, one more with this hand, and then we'll switch to your other hand. Shake out, other side. So fingertips, roll as if rolling down through the back of the hand and then peeling it off the mat. Let's get the shoulders down, head relaxed, so you're looking down at your fingers. We have another 2 on this side, so you don't need to crane your head up to the screen. And after this, we'll be taking the extended puppy pose, finding that length in the spine. So the fingers creep forwards, the bottom stays over the knees, and we sink the heart down. Sometimes it's called the melting heart asana. Forehead towards the floor or on the floor. If you've got a block handy, it's quite nice to rest your head there if it doesn't reach the mat. Spider tipping those fingertips all the way forwards. We'll start to get a stretch right up to the armpits. The hips are leaning back, lengthening through the spine. One more breath here, and then we're coming onto our sides. I'll mirror you if you're facing long ways on your mat. So let's say you lie on your left-hand side. We're going for the clown. Rest the head. I prefer knees out in front of you. Make sure they're not in line with the hip. Draw those knees forwards. Lifting the feet, as I find this a more satisfying, larger movement as we breathe in and open the knees for a clown. Press the feet together and we breathe out. You're creating a tension and resistance by pressing the feet together. Feel you need more work? Press into the knees as we breathe in and open, and resist that closing of the knees. Here you should really feel that in your core muscles if you're adding on that resistance. But this is about mobility in the hips, so you don't need to make it more difficult unless you feel this is an area you can add a bit more resistance. There's 3. We're going to go for another 3. So we're going to go for 6 on this side, and then we're going to take a pendulum sort of movement with the leg. We'll start with the knee bent, and then there's the option of extending the leg and finding that kind of pendulum mobility in the hip. So when you're ready, if we rest the lower leg down, keep a neutral spine, so that means lengthening through the tailbone. See how my pelvis tilted there. We take the top knee into the chest, and then we reach behind. Let's try and breathe in, forwards. You can extend the leg. Those who are a bit more nimble with this can go for a straight leg, spine, long hip extension there. Breathing in, the leg floats forward. Breathing out, extending back. So either way, the knee bent. You can see that it's the same movement in the hips. So go for whichever version you feel more secure with. Try to avoid sticking the bottom out. So keep that long line in the spine. You can place your hand in the back of the body. We've got one more here, and then we're flipping on to the other side. You're doing well. Are we ready? Climb on the other side. So knees pointing forwards, long through the tailbone, feet lift, press the feet together, breathe in and open. So now you know the legs know what they're doing. You can add resistance or not, your choice. Let's keep the hips stacked. So not rolling back, just avoid that, keep the hips absolutely stacked. Keep pubic bone curling up towards the ribs, so we have that engagement in the core, and just check in that your shoulders are relaxed and there's no clenching in the jaw. So if possible, breathe in as you open, and breathe out to press the feet together and clam close. I think we've got another 2 on this side, and then we'll pendulum the leg forwards and backwards, bent or straight, your choice. So if we're going right to the end of the breath, is that out breath where we can feel the front ribs coming closer together, tummy bottom back to the spine, pelvic floor lifting. So the bottom leg stays on the floor. Let's have a go with bent legs first of all, breathing slowly with control. The leg reaching behind, hip extension here. So hand on the back if you have your balance, otherwise the fingertips can come to the floor to hold you in place. Again, let's go for roughly 6, but whatever pace, we'll all meet up in a moment. So that you can have the joy of anticipation, after this, we're going to lie on our bellies, and we're going to take BWTL arms in a lift, and then a recovery breath, and we'll loop that. We're going to try to fit in 6 of those before we move on to our backs for the final phase. Can we think about lengthening through the knees? So it's been drawn, almost drawing the femur out of the hip joint. So again, you're almost feeling you're creating space the whole length of the leg. Maybe point the toes and lengthen, trying to reach, lengthen that leg. And then are you ready? We're coming onto our bellies. So almost like we're doing a Shalabhasana, a locust. We need to tilt the pelvis, pubic bone into the mat to protect the lower spine. This isn't for a back bend. Arms out in front of you. We'll breathe in and press the pubic bone into the floor. Breathing out, ribs come together, float the arms up into a V, then into a W, elbows into the waist, into a wide T, and then elbows right into the waist. And this is that L shape or a mirrored L shape. Hands stacked, rest the forehead, take a breath in. Breath out, find that engagement in the core, the tilt in the pelvis, extend the arms to a V, lower the elbows to the sides, W, arms out, wide wingspan, T through the whole body, and then thumbs to the ceiling, elbows into the waist, squeeze, stack the hands. You can shake, rock from one hip bone to the other. Breathe in, prepare, breathe out, core engaged, V, W. The gaze stays down, there's no crease in the back of the neck. Squeeze, work the upper back, stack the hands, have a little shake as you breathe in. Breathing out, engage, V, maybe the legs float up, W, T, Ls. I think we have another 2, do we? You can't talk back. Let's do 2. Breathe in to prepare. V, W. So peeling the shoulders back from the floor. T and L. Elbows down towards the hips. Stack. Ready for our last one, and then we're on our backs. Are we ready? Breathe in. Tilt, prepare, reach. Feel space. Reach the wall in front of you. Reach the wall behind you with your toes. Take a W, chest maybe a little bit higher, chin still into the chest. Open your arms wide. Use the muscles between your shoulder blades to draw the elbows into the waist, thumbs up to the ceiling, and then briefly take a child pose. So without intending to, you probably did extend the spine a little bit there. So just give it a little bit of a rub, a little bit of TLC if it needs it. We're onto our backs. We're going to cycle where we can have the emphasis on just mobilizing, moving through the hips, thinking about the psoas, or the more extreme, working more heavily with the core. So as if we're taking half Apanasana, one knee into the chest, holding behind the knee, stretching the other leg. Breathing in to switch, breathing out, other knee in, the other leg extends. Keep the chin tucked into the chest, elbows in close, and continue. Now, if this is just a nice stretch and it's lovely for your back, particularly if you have quite an exaggerated kind of a lordotic curve there, or you experience problems in the lower back, I would stick with this. If it's very easy for you to imprint the lower spine, we can make this a little bit more of a core strengthener. So we take the knee over the hip, we breathe into tabletop, we breathe out, extend the other leg. So as soon as we take the knee in, we're taking the emphasis off the core. So just find a level somewhere between relying on the hands, the strength of the arms to draw the knees in, and somewhere between establishing that contact with the mat, closing the ribs, and maintaining that pulling in the core. So finding your challenge point. Are we still breathing? Shoulders down. The other day in a class, I said to someone, you're arching your spine as you extend the leg. If your child's life depended on you imprinting your tummy bottom back to the spine, now do it. And they were just brilliant. So whatever motivation, whatever you think, I have to keep a neutral spine. Work that little bit harder on those strengthening muscles, whatever works for you. Or maybe it's just the countdown. We'll do one more on each side. Really lengthen through the foot. And last side. And then hug the knees into the chest, have a little rock. We're out for time. 3 minutes. Next, hamstrings. So instead of doing the scissors like in the Pilates, I want you to use your breath. Let's extend one leg up to the ceiling. If that's tight, bend the other leg. We're going to breathe in, then hold the breath as we squeeze the hamstrings and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Press the thigh against the hands, still holding the breath, and then breathing out, soften. Breathe in, press the thigh into the hands, pull the hands into the thigh as you hold the breath, hold, 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 and then exhale and feel everything soft. Twice more than the other leg. Breathe in, lengthening through the leg. The hands can massage the belly of the hamstrings there, or even lightly pull the hamstrings away from the knee, or up, away from the hip. And the exhalation, just softening, relaxing, maybe shaking the head. One last time on this side. Breathe in, now apply that pressure, the squeeze to the hands. Press and pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then soften. Have a rock on the spine, other side. Extend the leg, hold at the back of the leg. Okay, chin tucked, breathe in, hold for 5 counts, squeeze, press the thigh against the hands, 4, 3, 2, 1, and soften. Deep breath in, engage, and squeeze, hold the breath before releasing. Again, deep breath in, try to keep the jaw soft, the shoulders soft, all the work into the biceps, the elbows in close, and softening with that exhalation. Last one, breath in, lengthen, press the hip bone down into the floor. Feel that squeeze in the belly of the muscle and softening with the exhalation. Both knees into the chest, a little rock on the spine. Hold the knees, both knees into the chest. Think a capital D in the mirror. Knees out wide, push the knees away, feet find the floor into Supta Baddha Konasana, close the knees. Up the center line of the body, towards the armpits, the side walls, find the floor, hip opening, draw the knees together. Once more, and return. The other way, feet to the floor, inner thighs stretch, draw the knees up to the armpits and together. Couple more times, go slower if that feels nice. And then we're taking a full body stretch. Reach overhead, point the toes, reach into the fingertips. Hold the opposite wrist, take a little bit of a side bend. And the other way. Curl the toes up to the face so you activate the posterior chain of muscles. You feel you rise up onto the calf muscles, you feel quads engage, and then point the toes, spread the fingers, lower the arms, draw the knees in, have a little rock on the spine, and that's half an hour. Check out the hair. Well done, everyone.